business needs, and it can work with all different regulatory environments, all different tax environments. But what you want running a business is some stability. You know what the playing field's all about. You can make your hiring and your investment decisions based upon that. It's a stability system, not just tax and regulatory, but simple rule of law that again helped enable the start of the Industrial Revolution, first in the United Kingdom and then in the United States and ultimately around the world. But a stable and thoughtful tax and regulatory environment are essential to that.
From an income tax standpoint, obviously individuals and businesses care deeply about the taxes they pay, and so that's important. I think from a business standpoint, we also care deeply about the regulatory environment in which we operate in Colorado and what that is like. Is it, pro-business or not pro-business, and is there more of it or less of it? And so I think that's really important. And then, lastly, obviously as business leaders and owners, the total cost that it, takes to operate a business in a particular place is important.
One of the issues that we find the most important for Colorado is to make sure that we keep a competitiveness agenda, which means a tax and regulatory system that helps Colorado retain companies, grow companies, and have a vibrant economy.
Colorado historically, especially coming out of the last Great Recession, was a top economy in the nation. We've been ranked in the top. Best state for job growth. We've had industry growth across the board. However, in the last several years, that's been threatened. We see an onslaught of new taxes and fees. Headed into 2023, we're going to have over $1.5 billion in new taxes and fees that business, especially small business, is going to have to grapple with and address.
Recently, the Biden administration passed an executive order on project labor agreements on federal projects above $35 million. This is really bad for merit shop companies like ours that are not union, because the project labor agreement basically assures that all that work is going to be done by union contractors. If you look at the amount of federal work that's done in this state with our military bases and airports and federal buildings, we don't have the union membership or quantity of tradespeople that be required to do all that work. So what's going to happen in Colorado is we're going to have to invite outside non-residents of Colorado to complete that work. That's not good business for Colorado. I've challenged our representatives to actually think about this and the overall impacts of having project labor agreements on federal projects above $35 million. It's not fair for people like our business, RK Industries, that pay taxes, that develop people through our apprenticeship programs and have been in this market since the 70s. And then all of a sudden we're not qualified to build these projects when we're the largest mechanical contractor in this region with the most qualified talent and the safest workforce.
Well, what businesses need is they need consistency, and they need to really have confidence in the regulatory environment that they're working in. And I think a long time ago, when Colorado made a decision to have diversification in its economic infrastructure here in the state of Colorado and not rely on a single industry, decisions were made to be business friendly. One of the biggest decisions was actually building Denver International Airport. The fact that that airport went in was what really set off the economy in Colorado and allowed us to become global.
We have an excellent opportunity here in Colorado to really help drive a clean energy transition and do it in a way that's smart, thoughtful, and deliberate. And so I think that's really exciting. We have an opportunity to do well and do good at the same time.
The regulatory policy is a critical component for the natural gas and oil industry. We are a highly technical industry, and so we're highly regulated as well. And so we need to have very clear, certain regulations in order to operate and get permits and be able to produce here in Colorado. If we don't have that regulatory certainty, just like any other industry, that certainty can really drive location decisions. It can really drive capital investment decisions here in the state. And so if we don't have the regulatory certainty that we need, we can miss out on some of those things and be less competitive as a state as it relates to our industry.
But it's critical to our state to have something that's fair for business and not overload businesses with unfair regulation. It's also important to provide affordable housing for people that want to work and live in this state. And one thing that we lack in Colorado is enough affordable housing. We've quickly become one of the highest cost of living states for inland states within the United States. Denver used to be a place that was relatively affordable, but now it's being noted as one of the higher cost places to come and work and live because of this housing that we're facing, the housing costs. And one thing I think we can do as a state is not tax more to create affordable housing, but it's use existing tax money to help create affordable housing in many of our markets.
I think what's really important for policymakers to understand, and I would also lump in there education leaders and providers as well, is the dynamic pace of change that we're seeing in the world of work. It's something that a few people can really grasp and get their minds around, and because we can no longer try and predict the future, what we need to do is be responsive to these dynamically changing world in a much faster way. And so that's the big opportunity, is to make sure that policymakers and education leaders understand the speed of business and understand how to tap into that, and how to make sure that they're continuing to be relevant and moving in unison with that speed of business. And the only way to do that is to partner with business and to stay connected and close with business.
We're excited that we've pulled together such tremendous partners from academia, business, community, and government as part of Colorado Business Roundtable, and we invite you to join us.